Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Metal Magdalene with Jet right here on Metal Messiah Radio. Tonight, as our guest, I'm happy to have back with us on the show, Exo of Noctem. Welcome back to the show, Exo.
Hello. I'm nice to be here.
So, Exo, like I've stated in the past, I've watched this band and you guys grow up and develop as both men and musicians. The band has been around now for 18 years or so. So, Exo, give people a little bit of the history behind Noctem.
It's a long way, really. Well, we start in 2001, but we didn't really start until 2007 when we released the God Among Slaves demo. You remember that, right?
Of course.
And then we released 4 albums. The first trilogy, starting with Divinity, then Oblivion, and then Exilium. And then going with Heresies 3 years back, or 2 years back. I think it's 3 years back. And now we're presenting our 5th album, which I hope it's the best one.
How old were you when you started Noctem?
I think I was 19.
Now, what was your vision for the band when you first started?
I think it was completely different. Well, we wanted to do extreme metal, but in a completely different way. We evolved as a band throughout the years, and we changed our vision of the music and the music business in general. I think that with all the experiences, the tours, releasing the albums, sometimes problems with record labels, sometimes it went really good. I think we learned a lot, and we are in this major point of the band's career.
And now, speaking of that, you finished the trilogy after Exilium, and now we are into the second album after that. Since that time, you acquired all new members other than Bailiff and yourself. So what happened at this time to make you, go through this change?
Well, you mean changing the lineup?
Yes.
Well, it's not easy to be in a band like this because we tour a lot. Mm-hmm. And it requires a lot of time. We don't go with the band just for a living. We don't do just the band. Mm-hmm. So it requires a lot of extra time and sacrifice. So that's the reason why a lot of people quit throughout the years, I think. And also because for the new albums, Heresies and The Black Consecration, the musical direction changed drastically. So I guess that we needed a new band. It was Bailiff and me, and from the very beginning, and then we added the new drummer, which is not so new because he entered and composed Heresies too, mm-hmm. and the bass player too. But I think that we grew up as a band, and we required some kind of different members.
And so you had mentioned that the band itself was going in a different direction by the time you acquired these new members. What made you want to go in this new direction to Exo?
Well, I think it was because of the change of taste in mm-hmm. music mm-hmm. and the change of the vision of the band. I don't think in the same way that I was thinking when I was 22. I'm 33 now, and my vision of the band it's way different, and that's why we start in a more modern way, mm-hmm. and our production and everything has become more underground, or at least less modern or contemporary. I think that's one of the reasons. And my musical taste has changed, of course, or evolved, mm-hmm. as you wanna tag it. But mm-hmm. I think it happens with a lot of bands. If you listen to the first album and 4 or 5 albums later, it's completely different. I think you can recognize the main elements of the band in this last album too.
I was just gonna say that. You know, what's always remained with the band is the sound and stylings of your guitar work paired with Bayless vocals, always giving you that kind of signature Noctem sound. Now, do you and Bayless do most of the writing for the band?
Yes, I did all the writing for the album. I mean, Bayless did the lyrics, and I do the music. I create the structure of the songs and with the guitar, and then we add the bass and the drums. But I compose the music thinking about the bass and the drums too. Mm-hmm. So I think what is good for the drums here, like creating this riff that I know is going to work well with a blast beat, or is going to work well with a mid-tempo rhythm or something like that. And then the drummer adds his touch, and he creates his pattern or his rhythm from the guitar riff. So it's been all my life like this in all the Noctem albums, from God Among Slaves to the Black Consecration. We did it in the same way. It evolved maybe in the way of doing it, because at first I was in my home doing it, and then I was in the rehearsal place with all the guys. But it changed the way of doing it. I mean, the circumstances, but it didn't change how we do it. So it's been, you can notice it's the same band because of the way of creating the albums.
And so we're here today to talk about the new album, The Black Consecration. Now, as it was put, the most raw and black metal oriented of your career. So what inspired you guys to do an album like this that is this raw and black metal-ish?
I couldn't tell you. I think it was a natural evolution. Maybe because we went from a more death metal focused album, which was Heresies. And then I started digging a lot bands like MGLA and Wada and Watain and these kind of bands, which I've been following through the years. But I think it's because it was natural. It was the will to do something different, and also the will to evolve and offer something different to the people that's listening to us, the followers of the band and the followers of the genre in general. I think it was because I didn't want to create another album exactly like Heresies or the previous ones, and I knew that with a more black metal direction we could do this, which sounds different, but you can notice it's from the same band. Right.
And now this album, in the vein of black metal, but it still has, you know, that groove and the blast beats and some melodies, and it's so how did you approach this album musically, and what element has your drummer Vor brought to this album that's different than other albums that you have released?
Well, musically, I could say that it's the most interesting because it combines really raw moments, like really punk, black metal-ish moments, with very melodic moments, but which are not really like typical melodies that we created in the past. I think we achieved to create the most unique melodies of the band's career. And of course, the drummer, Vor, he added the fastest drums that we did until today. But it's not only about speed; it's also about the patterns that he used to combine with the riffs. I think it's of a really good taste, and in my opinion, it's like one of my favorites with Heresies, which I still like a lot. But my taste of the music is changing over the years, so I don't like that much the first 3 albums. I think that's one of the reasons why we changed this. But of course, not forgetting that we are the same band, and we have fans that their favorite albums are the first 3 ones.
So what is some of the lyrical content about on the album?
Couldn't tell you. That's a question for the vocalist.
Well, basically, I mean, you don't have to give us our thoughts, but what does it deal with? Dark matters? Does it, you know?
Yeah, of course. It's not more a concept album. It's more about, of course, Satanism and the vision of society, but through a really dark point of view. And also, the album is like a kind of black ritual. That's why it's called the Black Consecration. And every song is like a part of this ritual, expressing the vision of the band, of society, and matters that are happening nowadays.
So what forms is it going to be released on Exo?
It's going to be released in Jewel Box. Also, we're working in Digipack right now and vinyl. But vinyl edition will come a little bit late because it takes more time. And there's also a pre-order right now on Argates Records with a T-shirt and hoodie of the album. So if you get it now, you can get it signed by the band with a T-shirt, and signed by the band with a hoodie, which are looking really good.
I saw it. They look really, really sharp. And so you guys been doing a lot of touring and festivals over the past few years. You guys running a record company and writing. What are some of the biggest struggles that you face as a band?
Well, it's not the same to be like a heavy metal band than an extreme metal or a black metal band. It's completely different. Sometimes gigs that we are doing are completely shitty, because of the genre, mainly because of the genre. And sometimes it's great, but most of the times it's connected to tour conditions, that bad places to sleep, or bad conditions to drive your own van while performing the same day with no sleep, things like this. I mean, we got better conditions throughout the years, like playing in better positions in festivals, getting, better fees and all that stuff, better conditions in general. But the struggle of metal music, I think it's always the same. Bad touring conditions in general, that extreme touring conditions, I could say. I never slept in a fuel station, but I know a lot of bands that did.
and what are some of the best sites that people could go to follow the band, to see where you're playing, to find links to merchandise and all that kind of thing, Exo?
Yes, and performing in festivals, doing great shows, knowing the feedback from people that really loves the band, those are the best things. Those are, I think, for me, those are the best things. Like the most rewarding points of being in a band, and feeling like the heat from the audience when you're performing, knowing you're increasing your fan base. That helps you a lot to continue the way of being in a band.
And Exo, if people want to pick up some merchandise or anything like that, what are the best websites that they can go to do that kind of thing?
Well, right now it's the Argates Records website, which has an exclusive design for our new album. And then there's the pre-order of the Black Consecration, which is in hoodie and T-shirt. And we're working in the band's web store to putting it online again, but it will take some time. So right now it's Argates Records web store, which you can find in their website. And, well, they are announcing it constantly. We did it also for the pre-orders, so it's like argatesrecords.com store. And there you can find our material, all the albums and the merchandise that we have available right now.
And there you guys have it. Noctem has a new album out called The Black Consecration. You can learn more about the band and find links for merchandise at their websites. And as always, Exo, thank you for coming on the show, and all the best to you and the band and the new album.
Thanks a lot to you, as always.